Hello everyone, I am Zuhair, Winnipeg journalist, and I am today with Mora. Mora, tell me where we are today, what we are doing, what's happening.
Today we're at the Magnus Lives and Recreation Center, and we partnered with Community Veterinary Outreach, I should say. And they're an organization that's located in Ottawa, and they do events Canada-wide, hosting free pet and human health services for people who are vulnerably housed or anybody who needs access to free care for themselves or their pet. The reason this started was because the founder of CVO, noticed that folks are much more inclined to take care of themselves when they know that their pet is being taken care of too. And the people notice this really nice relationship between humans and animals, that people are much more likely to prioritize themselves when they know that their animal is also getting the care that they need, which can be really expensive. So it's nice to be able to provide human vaccines and pet vaccines, and we have a whole group of volunteers here who are doing that.
So there is before we start anything, there is a reason behind it. How this kind of event started and what goals you would like to achieve by holding this today.
So it's definitely more on the community veterinary outreach side, and they have a website that has a lot of information. They partnered with us, Spence Neighborhood Association, because we have access to this building and access to participants who need this kind of care. And the reason people need this kind of care is so that they stay healthy and their pet stays healthy. So it's primarily a human health service, but the incentive to human health is through pet health, we've noticed. So it's definitely a hand-in-hand relationship. And people in Winnipeg's inner city definitely need this kind of service, and we're happy to provide it.
So that takes me to another question. What kind of challenge you noticed the visitor here, themselves or their pets, they face regularly here in Winnipeg?
I think with pets, sometimes finding housing that accommodates yourself and your pet at a reasonable price, with rent going up so much and things getting more and more expensive is really challenging. And transporting yourself to your appointments and keeping up with appointments when you don't maybe have a consistent phone number or address can be really challenging too. So having one day where you can come in and be welcomed exactly where you're at with your pet, with no questions asked, no scrutiny, is really nice to offer people.
So my final question is gonna be, who participate today? Tell me more about tables they are participate today, and what they offer for the individuals.
Yeah, so we have 3 vet tables, each with volunteer vets. They're completely volunteering their time for free. They all have their own practices and clinics around Winnipeg, and they're doing microchips, which is also good. If your pet runs away, we can find them again with the microchip, as well as vaccines and some prescription medication if the animals need it, and general checkups. Then we also have a volunteer groomer doing nail trims and brushing up mats. We have free pet food to give away, specialized to diets. And then we have a public health nurse here, as well as a medical team giving out free vaccines, all sorts of vaccines, and healthcare advice. And then we finally have a table of dentists offering free dental care advice, toothbrushes, and toothpaste.
Thank you so much. There is anything else you want to add, any advice for the people?
I don't know. Yeah, we're always looking to help out. So if anybody needs anything, you can always reach out to Spence Neighborhood Association.
Thank you so much. We still have some more interviews. Stay tuned. So, guys, we are back now. I'm with Dr. Richard. How are you, doctor?
Yeah, great. Thanks. Good to see you.
Thank you so much. Tell me what you are doing here today.
Well, so this is what we term a One Health clinic. And so we've got people that are looking after the animals, but I'm the physician. So we also have to look after the people that have the animals. So we are doing vaccines and a whole variety of vaccines, and then I actually have a public health nurse here to help with that as well, and my own team. And then if we have people that need to be caught up with their vaccines, that's no problem. But also if people are looking for information, some of their own health information, if they have questions around their own health. And then obviously some of the very unlikely, because these are pets, but some of the questions about, well, what diseases could they actually get from their pets and things like that.
So, if we get in deeper, what kind of disease it will be like transfer from the human being to the pets? And
Well, so I mean, obviously, because these are domestic pets, there's very, very few. And we have a very good system here in Winnipeg where if you're adopting pets and they're coming through the Humane Society, they would have been dewormed and screened and vaccinated. So it's unlikely, but sometimes getting worms from the pets is potential, and so giving them information about how to handle, say, the cat litter, or how to clean up the dog poop, things like that. I mean, ideally just use gloves and things like, and always wash your hands afterwards. So those are some of the simpler ones. But there's also things like toxoplasmosis. So that's it's a parasite that people could actually get from cats. Usually it's got to be your stray cat. So it's going to be unlikely if it's a domestic cat, but it's just general information like that. And then what we also have here, it's mostly for our volunteers, and especially for our volunteers that are going up north to helping with animal rescue. We actually run the rabies program in Manitoba, because rabies is actually endemic here in Manitoba in the skunk population, but if you're dealing with animals that don't necessarily have a home, and those are the ones that often are rescued, they may potentially have rabies. And so we do see about 2 to 3% every single year of animals that we suspect, so this is dogs and cats, 2 to 3% of those that are suspected to actually have rabies because they'd bitten somebody, something like that, they come back positive. So it's not a zero, there is a risk. And so someone working with that animal population, we actually have a way of preventing that with our vaccines.
so, in terms of risks, what we face when we are raising a pet at home, so some people they become enthusiastic to have a pet.
Yes.
In the beginning, but maybe sometimes they don't have time, or they didn't educate themselves properly to raise the animal. So what kind of challenges, if we are not ready, or how we know we are ready to take that animal in under our eyes and raise it in a healthy environment?
So sadly, unfortunately as well, one of the most important things is actually having the finances. Okay, if you think about it, if you want to look after a pet, what's the first thing you do? When they're puppies or kittens, they have to go to the vet for their vaccines, exactly the same as we would take our own kids, except we don't at least have to pay for our kids going for vaccines. Whereas for the pets, they'll have to have that whole series. And then food, you don't just want to feed your animal junk. You've got to feed them good quality food. Well, that unfortunately is also expensive. So it's hard to recognize that the first thing is to actually have money, and so that's the first section. Then the next thing is, especially with dogs, okay, but even with cats, there's good evidence that you need to interact with them. And so with dogs, you have to be walking them every single day. You have to be actively exercising. Now that's actually, it might seem like a lot of work, but it's actually very good for your own health.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you're out walking every day, you're being active, and we know that there's the whole concept of One Health has shown that there's very good mental health positives for having a pet, and so that is one of the challenges, but it's also a benefit. Yeah. So getting out and being active with your pet, and then just having just general knowledge. Well, what happens if they do actually eat something that makes them sick? Well, where is my vet? Who should I go to? And it's better to have a vet that you go to on a regular basis, so that you can actually go there if there's an emergency, things like this. I mean, there are so many overlaps with animal health and human health, and if you don't have a very clear understanding about how to take care of yourself, it maybe you might not necessarily have some of the understanding on how to even take care of your pet. So probably understanding how to look after yourself would probably be a good start as well.
My final question, it's not a question, it's something I noticed in my community. I am like immigrant myself to Canada, and I know some people from my community who was a new immigrant to Canada. They had pets in their homeland, and when they arrived to Canada, they want to do something similar. With a very harsh winter, with a slippery outside, they have some more challenges.
Yeah.
So maybe you are the best one to advise them how they can manage that, or to not take that step.
Yeah, well, as you can hear, I'm also an immigrant, and I think the best way to truly assimilate into the Canadian culture, especially in Winnipeg, is to truly embrace that winter. So you get the right shoes, you get the right clothes, and you get outside. You get out in, even if it's minus 40, you go outside. But you make sure that you put the clothes on so that you're staying safe, that you don't have exposed skin. And so if you're taking your dog for a walk, well, they've got to have something. So they should have booties, putting coats on. But still, you've got to get outside. And as you do that more and more, you'll actually find, this is... People, our First Nations, have lived here for how many millennia, okay? And done incredibly well. So why should we not be able to do it? Okay, so.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Doctor. Okay. We still have one more interview. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. And now, last but not least, I am with Josh. Josh, what are you doing here today?
So today, I'm volunteering as a One Health guide, helping people get from the animal portion to the human portion. First and foremost, I'm here because I love animals and I love volunteering. I love helping the community, having a great time.
How is it important for us to volunteer in such like this event, and how that will be supporting our community?
It's extremely important with the rise of veterinary care getting, it's expensive and a lot of people can't afford to, and it's important to hold these clinics for those that can't afford to go to clinics themselves and make sure their pets are healthy, make sure they're healthy, and that's why we have both the animal aspect and the human aspect. We kind of put it all together through the community veterinary outreach, so that both humans and their pets are taken care of.
And for you today, like spending your own time, some people would they say like, why we are spending our time for something maybe it's not beneficial for us.
Yeah.
So how would that encourage you to be participate as a volunteer today?
You know what? If we're not here, then the clinic's not here, and I think it's really important that these clinics, especially, I mean, if you're a Winnipegger, you should care about your neighbors and making sure they're taken care of, and their pets as well. Like I said, if we're not here, then the clinic doesn't happen. So it's important to be here.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your effort.
Thank you.
We reached the end of our episode. Thank you for watching. If you like this episode, please like, share, and subscribe, and wait for our next story. Bye-bye.